Hey guys, how's it going? Happy Friday evening. We're just getting ready to milk and waiting for the chickens to load in the trailer so I can shut the door and my turkey. Tonight I had a thought about delayed gratification and how the world, technology especially, has just made our dopamine, especially in our brain, that reward center for everything. The simple scrolling of a cell phone screen is like a dopamine pump. Drip, 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 drip. It's the exact same chemicals for people that are having a hard time with addiction and drugs. It's just they're wanting that little hit of dopamine, serotonin production in the brain, that little reward center that we all feel. That's why kids are so addicted to video games. And I originally heard from Kenny Lambert, and we were discussing it a couple months ago about how much harder he noticed that how much harder of a time kids had in today's world with delayed gratification. So if you told a kid, hey, you put a piece of candy in front of them and say, hey, you can eat that now, but if you wait 2 or 3 minutes, I'll give you another piece. And they just wanted to eat it now. Well, there was an experiment done on YouTube. I'm sure most of you have seen it. If you type in delayed gratification on YouTube, where they did this, and like 80% of the kids did not wait, that really struck me. I watched that again, and then I talked about it with the homeschool group of kids today. And I was thinking about not so much them, but myself. Like, I'm really bad at this too. Like, I'm very impatient and immature when it comes to delaying my own gratification. I've gotten good at fasting, but I started looking at this at a bunch of other facets of my life where I don't delay gratification, and how it has started to sort of weave its way into distracting and just making me so much more unproductive. And this device that I'm holding right here in my hand is one of the main culprits. So at meals, we've started sitting there I'm obviously hungry, I want to sit down and eat, but with my kids, we play this little game 2-3 times a week at lunchtime where I'll put a little piece on their plate. If they eat it, they don't get any more, but if they wait to eat it 2 minutes, they get a little more piece of it, but they still don't get to eat it. If they want more, they have to wait a little longer. And I don't like overfill their portion, but it was almost kind of like an introduction to fasting, because they were ultimately in charge of, how if they waited, and then once they ate and that was it, they don't get any more. So, and the food was sitting there right in front of them. Nobody was, holding it back. They could see it, they could touch it, they could grab it if they wanted to, but they chose not to. And with my really young kid, I watched him struggle. Like, he was sitting there looking at this hamburger, whatever was on his plate, and he was just staring at it and really wanted to eat it, but I could see him resisting the urge to do it. And it was really cool. I started thinking about how many times I don't resist the urge. Anyway, if you want to check out the video, it's a really cool study to watch the kids in the room struggle and watch the body language and mannerisms of the children that do resist the experiment. It's very cool. I'll put a link to it below. But yeah, delayed gratification. Doing it with screens, especially video games, man, those things are more addictive than most drugs. If we knew what those things only did in the brain, I mean, there is a reason why Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg do not let their children have technology in the home. That could be a whole nother discussion for another day. Anyway, that's all the thoughts. Hope you guys are doing well. We'll catch you later. Bye.